G'day guys, Ben Burford here from Steriline Racing, down here at Morphettville Racecourse to give you guys a quick rundown of some general maintenance on the Steriline Platinum Starting Gate. So we're here at the front of the gate with the electrical control box. The C-check charger we supply with the gates can be left on full time when they're not in use. In other cases we recommend the gates are charged for at least 24 hours before race day, just to make sure the battery's always charged. So race day, power can go on and stay on. There's this battery status monitor here which should be flashing green. Anything else, which it explains over this side, orange is the battery's getting lower and red's not a good idea to be using it. But generally if you've charged it, it should be green. After it's been on for 60 seconds, there's a secondary battery test which will load test the battery. You just push the button and hold it for a second or so and it'll run through a cycle and just let you know if the battery's dying or not. We still recommend the battery's changed yearly, just precautionary, but if it's all good, you should come up with a green light. All right, so the start arm, just want to make sure that still feels relatively free and nothing seems tight or jammed or anything, and a bit of lubrication in the moving parts doesn't go astray. And while you're here, in case anyone didn't know, this is a manual override for it, so just check that. It's all working. So we're here at the front of the gates. Usually just lubricate everything with CRC, WD-40 or anything similar. All the moving parts, the rotary catch, top and bottom gate hinges, just to keep everything moving freely. Just check the condition of the suction cups. Sometimes they start perishing on the outside, the rubber gets a bit hard. Make sure they're sort of firm, hand tight. And if they're loose, you just take a spanner in behind and just tighten them up by hand. We usually check, just make sure no gates are bent as well. If any gates have been bent, it'll be usually down the bottom from a horse trying to duck underneath. If you can just fit one finger in there, they're pretty good. So when I shut all the front gates, you usually just check that the suction cups are holding on. None of the gates are loose, no movement in them. And then when it's shut, make sure the rotary catch comes around and touches all the way on its stopper. Should be left with a gap here around 3 millimeters or 2 threads. As long as they're all even and the same is pretty important. So we'll just test the front gates. And also there's a LED in the start button which basically indicates that everything's all set and ready to go, and probably a good time just to make sure that is working. So I'll put the light on just to make sure the light's working as well. And then we'll do a test start. Something else I like to do just as a final check is just to hold the gates a little bit closer, and they should come to the suction cup pretty evenly. If there's one that's coming fairly fast or very slow, they might just need a bit of adjustment up on the hinge. That's the maintenance of the front gates, and we highly recommend when you keep it in storage to keep all the gates open to keep the tension off the springs. All right, so at the back gates, just lube the top and bottom hinge points with CRC, WD-40 or something similar. I'll run a spanner along these nuts just to make sure they're fully tight. I find they want to loosen from time to time, so it's easier if you check them regularly. You can sort of get them tight without too much messing around just by using the bottom nut. Probably the most important thing is the handle adjustment, which can decrease over time. So I just look for the point where it contacts the gate around here, and I basically just check with a ruler. But if you try and keep it between 30 to 50 millimeters is a good sort of scope. These bottom hinges, I usually like to check them. If they've had a bit of force put on them, they can sort of stretch or become a bit looser. You need a 10mm Allen key, something you can get a bit of torque on. And final adjustment is these gate stoppers. When the gates are shut, it should be shut hard up onto the stopper, and then you should be left with no gap. But at the same time, you don't want them shutting too far in because it'll make the other gates butt into the first gate. Tyre should be around 30 PSI. I usually just grab them and give them a bit of a wobble, make sure there's not too much play in the bearings. You'll see the air coming out if it's coming out anyway. We've got the grease nipples here on each wheel mount, top and bottom. Probably monthly is okay to grease them. Plus we've got one underneath. Still air at the back of the gate, and just usually visually check over the hydraulic valve, make sure there's no oil leaks or anything like that. Just check these tie rod nuts. Sometimes they come a bit loose, and at the same time just make sure the tie rod ends haven't been bent or anything like that. So we're back at the front of the gate. Just usually give a bit of an inspection, making sure there's no rubbing or they're not hanging down or not cut in any places or anything silly like that. One final thing, just a general check over the padding. Make sure nothing's perished, no Velcro straps missing or anything like that. That's about it for the general maintenance.